Welcome back, everyone. Mike Edwards is now going to lead a session on leadership stances. Mike works with people, teams, and leaders who want to transform their lives. Most recently, Mike has, throughout his career, Mike has learned the power of different leadership stances for different situations. And most recently, Mike became a coactive coach.
Correct.
Which has enhanced his ability to lead others. Mike is a founding member of Leanintuit, a group of Agile Coaches supporting organizational change. And I have heard Mike speak at a variety of Agile conferences and coach camps throughout the years. And I really have enjoyed your talks and I appreciate the interactivity of the session and how I could apply the takeaways in my work. And so this fits really well with the feedback from our group. And so please join me in welcoming Mike.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Is this on? It's like working for a phone company. Can you hear me now? So this is a topic that I'm passionate about. I do a lot of coaching with teams and individuals. Oh, we got to move the camera. Can I keep moving? Make it hard for me. No, I got to stay on this side of the black line. Yeah, good. Okay. I do a lot of coaching with teams and organizations and individuals. And there's something that I've really noticed happens over and over again is let me explain it this way. Who here has kids? Who here has kids who drive? So how many of you that have kids who drive said, okay, here's what you do. You put the key in, you turn the key, you put it into drive, put your foot down and go. None of us, right? No, it took me a very long time to say, okay, you can take my vehicle by yourself, right? And that's exactly the kind of thing I'm seeing happening in organizations, is they take something like Scrum and they say, okay, here's how to do Scrum, and they send people out and they send them for a course. Might be a certified Scrum Master course or a product owner course or whatever it is. They send them for a course, bring them back and say, good, now you have everything you need, go. And what happens? Right? They flop. Probably one of the most personal experiences I had is I went in to help an organization, and I was told, okay, first of all, you cannot teach them, you cannot take them into a classroom and teach them. Okay? So how are they supposed to learn Scrum? Well, just do it while coaching, but don't take the time to teach them. Okay, so back to how are they supposed to know how to use Scrum? So we ended up doing a lot of teaching on the fly, kind of under the covers, so to say, while we were doing it. The problem is, it took an extreme amount of time to teach them the basics so that they even knew how to take that step forward. A little while later, that same person that said you can't teach them said, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how well do my people know Scrum? I'm like, what do you mean? How well are they executing on Scrum? No, how well do they know Scrum? Do they know there's 3 ceremonies? Yeah, you see where this is going, right? Not a great experience. So that's what this talk is about. It's to create some awareness that there's different stances leaders need to take to support teams. Now, who here has some kind of job title that describes you as a leader of any kind? Okay, I would propose, or let me ask the second question here. Who here considers himself a leader in some fashion at work? Okay, can I ask everybody to put their hand up? Everybody. Okay. We all come with some kind of experience, some kind of knowledge, some perspective, whatever it may be, that we all fulfill some kind of leadership role at work. You may not have a fancy title, right? You may not have the fancy desk or the fancy office, but we are all leaders. So when we think about this, and we go through the next 20 minutes or so, I want everybody to think of yourself as a leader, because every single one of us is a leader. Okay? So let's talk about stances to begin with. First of all, I want you to look to the people next to you, and I want everybody to have a partner. Everybody get a partner. Anybody not have a partner besides me? Everybody has a partner. You don't have a partner? There's an odd number here. Is anybody else without a partner? Okay, these guys back here are lonely, so you can go join them. Or you can come join him, whatever works. Okay. So I would like one of the partners to put your hand up. Just one person in each pair. Okay, for each one of you guys or girls that just put your hand up, you are the teacher. So here's what you're going to do. I want you to pick something that's of interest to you in life. It can be anything. It can be model shipbuilding. It can be canoeing. It could be hiking. It could be whatever it is that interests you. And in 2 minutes, and I'll set a timer here, in 2 minutes, I would like you to teach the other person everything you can about that skill. Okay? So here's the thing. For the other person, your job is just to absorb, to learn, to take in the information. Okay? As much as you possibly can. No. Your job, if you didn't hear, Artie here, being the real curious type, wanted to know if she could ask questions. Oh, by the way, does anybody know what date, what it is today? It's National Cheese Lovers Day. And if you don't know, I'd like to introduce you to Cheesy here. No, so teacher, you're going to just in 2 minutes share as much information as you can. Recipient, student, you're just going to take it in. It's all you have to do. Okay? You're going to have a chance to ask questions in a few minutes. Just not yet. Good. Go. 2 minutes. Okay. Your attention back up here. So, first of all, let me ask teachers, what did you observe in this experience of just explaining, just teaching?
He was listening very carefully.
Listening carefully. Yeah, because I didn't let him do anything but good, good. Aaron?
I actually saw the angst in the person's face wanting to ask questions and wanting to know more. I didn't feel like I was doing justice in my explanation as we were going through the 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. One more.
Very similar to that. Without getting any feedback, I had no idea about how deep to go on certain areas or how shallow in others. So it was very difficult without getting feedback.
Yeah. So a lot of good stuff there. So students,
Thanks.
let's have a few observations there. Students, what was it like to just have to sit and take in this?
Oh, it was tough. It was tough. Yeah, I couldn't help myself interjecting, but it was interesting to me how he started out at very high level and the general theories, and then he was teaching me about software development, and then started out at that high level, what you're trying to do, and ended up with, it's all ones and zeros, man. It's all ones and zeros.
It's not. Other observations from students back here.
Another thing is because we only have 2 minutes, that's why the teacher is trying to jam as many information as possible to you, and you're trying to know what you're talking about and try to digest everything, but then you don't have enough time to do anything. And you can't ask questions, you can't do anything, so feel very helpless.
What were you taught? We had software development.
Cricket.
Quicken.
I know there's a ball, there's a bat.
Oh, cricket. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
the
cool.
sport. not the.
I was thinking, wow, being taught Quicken. That's cool.
I assume that we would reverse the role, so part of the way through I'm thinking, okay, what am I going to talk about? And I was distracted.
So your head was going somewhere else at the same time. Cool. One more observation.
So it was a bit frustrating because, you sort of like couldn't speed things up that you already knew, and like by saying, yeah, I got it. Okay, could we focus on that? But in a way it was relaxing because there was clearly no expectation that I could possibly absorb all of this or make it relevant to me. So I could kind of zone out and tune out.
Oh, that's cool. And what were you being taught, John? John?
Yeah.
Were you in tune enough to know what he was teaching you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What was that?
About whiskey.
Whiskey?
Scotch.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm coming back.
So it's a
there.
topic I'm very interested in. But, after a while, it's like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So tell me, what's the depth of information like here? Are you an expert now in cricket?
0.
Do you think you could go out and play cricket?
I can, but it'll be sucking.
I'd ask John, could he go out and drink whiskey? But, but could you find the right whiskey? The best whiskey? Yeah. But it's the same kind of thing. I kind of pushed the envelope when I said, kids starting cars and getting in and hitting the gas pedal. And actually, I have a friend about that height actually did that. You can imagine where that ended. Right? But we do this with teams. We send them out in a CSM course or whatever kind of course, and they come back and it's like, okay, go. Why aren't you productive? Why aren't things better? Right? That feedback loop, the ability to process. Because no matter how good I am as an instructor or whoever is that is an instructor, as soon as they come back and apply that knowledge in the real world, what's going to happen? Questions, frustrations, problems. So let's go to the next step here. What we're going to do now, so that was teaching, we're going to do mentoring. How many people here mentor somebody? Anybody? Yeah, quite a few people. What is mentoring? Any thoughts? Advice, guidance. Listening. I'm sorry? Showing by example, absolutely. Yeah. Where does all of this come from? From a textbook? Experience. Right there, that's the key. So in the handout here, which I'll hand out afterwards, in the handout here I talk about wisdom. You'll see wisdom is on the 1 scale. Wisdom is our experience. It's our past history. It's the things that gave me this gray hair, right? Through experience. The things that bumped my head against a wall with. When I'm a mentor and I'm giving advice or I'm giving thoughts or I'm giving direction, who owns the decision whether or not to grab onto that and do something with it? The mentee, absolutely. So let's do this now. Same teacher, except teacher, you're now a mentor. And now, Artie, you can ask questions. Everybody can ask questions now. What I'd like you to do is explore with your mentor how you could get started with this. So John probably starts with going to the bar. Right? But how could you get started with this? And what, in their experience, would they recommend? Get curious. Tap into your mentor's knowledge to understand how they got started, what worked for them, not worked for them. And at the end of 2 minutes, I would like you to have some thought about how would you take a step forward with this. Going out and finding a cricket. Where do they play? I was going to say court, but fields. Going to find a cricket field might be a place to start. Right. Okay, so 2 minutes. Teacher, you're now a mentor. Student, you're now a mentee, so get curious, ask questions, tap into their wisdom and their understanding of the topic. Okay, go. Good. Love the energy, love the focus. Love that you got lost in that. That's good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so let me ask now, mentor, how was this experience different than just teaching? Actually, we'll wait for the microphone.
This experience is deeper because the questions they are meaningful. They have like more sense than teaching just like technical question, because he asks me about the meaning, why.
Why did you do that? Yeah, there's one of the biggest things that I find as a mentor I like to share is the whys, right? Why do I feel this way? Why do I believe this way? Because there's probably some history there. What was he mentoring you on? What was the topic? Color mixing. Oh, that's an interesting one. Artistic? Yeah, nice. I'm trying to make you run as far as I possibly can. Aaron.
From my side, just the reverse of the first comment is as soon as the mentee was able to ask questions, like, I already know about that topic. So here are some questions that I do have.
Yes.
So I kind of thought that they knew nothing, so I started at the ground instead of meeting them where they were.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, really key one there as a mentor and as a coach and as a leader, it's meeting people where they are, right? Not making those assumptions. So that's really cool. What was the topic? Basketball. Cool. I can't hit those hoops if my life depended on it.
So it's from the same direction, on the same note, like, turns out the guy knows about, the edges of this topic we spoke about, and actually I ended up learning a lot from him.
Oh, so you were mentor, and you ended up learning a lot from mentee.
Yeah, on some, side subject, if you will.
Oh, okay, perfect. I would actually say even in the topic you're mentoring, as a mentor, be open. Be open to learning. Right? This other person is coming with their own wisdom, their own experiences, their own skinned knees and all that too. Right? So always be open. Cool. Okay, let's go to the mentees. What was this experience like compared to the previous one? In the back here?
It was a lot more engaging. You felt more involved, and the conversation felt more organic.
More organic. Cool. Okay, other thoughts? Over here. Run, Tom, run.
You're just picking people on opposite sides of the room.
I am. Get ready.
For me, it was very interesting because the topic was baseball, and my mentor, he was trying to give me the very basic instruction of how to do a pitch, but I don't even know the rules of the game. So I had to go back one step back, because as opposed to other people who actually knew something and they said, okay, let's jump, I was like, oh, wait, like one step even back, because I have actually no background.
Nice. Beautiful. And one more back here. Mike.
It was immediately kind of more personal, and I actually got away from the specific topic. So it was basketball, but then we started talking about liking team sports versus one-on-one combat sports.
So something that had more interest.
It was immediately more engaging, but because it was more personal and more nuanced in, I guess, what the topic was. It wasn't just like high level, like to the last speaker's point about the rules. It was more about deeper kind of psychological aspects of that thing, which was interesting.
Cool. So which one of these two approaches do you think will have a longer lasting and deeper impact on the recipient? Mentoring, right? Of course. And yet, what do we continually do? Go get a CSM? I'm picking on CSM. I apologize, right? CSM is a good course, right? The Scrum Master. But we go get training and we expect people to just go without the benefit of any of that wisdom, right? The sharing, the working through these things. We expect somehow it's just going to magically work for them. Cool. So let's go to our last exercise here. Now we're going to actually turn the tables. So the student or the mentee, you're now going to take the stance of being a coach. The teacher or the mentor is now the coachee. Now let's talk about what is coaching. What's the difference between mentoring and coaching? It's often confused.
The answers and the questions are in the coachee.
Hmm.
And you're not passing your wisdom on to them. You're not passing your wisdom on to the coachee.
Actually, start over from the beginning, because
So
that was good, David.
the answers and the questions are with the coachee. So you're not, as a coach, passing your wisdom on to the coachee. You're helping the coachee to discover their own answers.
Nice. Any other thoughts about coaching?
Coaching is a two-directional, right? Mentoring is a two-directional. I was thinking of that, but coaching is generally with a team as well, right?
Yeah, we do think of team coaching. So we can have coaching of individuals. We can have coaching of teams. Combine those two thoughts. They're both valid here. They're both correct, right? The answers in coaching do not lay in the coach. They lay in the coachee, right? The coachee might be the entire team, or it might be an individual. So let me give you a couple things to build on that. When I'm coaching teams, one of the first conversations I have with them is I said, okay, look, we need to have an agreement between us, you as the team and me as the coach, so that I understand how you want me to take a stance. Okay? And here's what I tell them. I say, there are going to be times that I'm going to see you're driving towards a cliff, and you have a choice, and it's going to create the stance that I'm going to take. Your choice is, I can get in between you and the cliff and say, stop, look what's going on, and work with them. Or I can see them heading towards the cliff, stand aside, let them drive off the cliff, and say, so, how was that? Right? Two very, very different approaches. Which one's better? There's a cliff. Do you want to go off it? Aaron? Yeah, so if you didn't hear that, what Aaron said, if it's up to the team or leave it up to the team or the individual, it's what's right for them.
I would take personally a different approach. It depends on the consequences. So if jumping off the cliff would cause that person obviously to die, probably I would stop that.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. So here's. Oh, go ahead.
If
Sorry.
the consequences are minimal, probably I would let them make the mistake.
Yeah, there's so much it depends in the answer. I asked which one is better. I actually don't have an opinion of which one is better. I think all of these answers are valid. It depends. Usually the answer I get is, well, we'd really prefer you not let us drive off a cliff, right? And if you think we're heading towards certain doom, please stop us sooner than later, is usually what I get back, right? I'm not sure what certain doom is in software development, right? I think we've all seen it. Perhaps. The kicker is, as a coach, I often don't know that that's coming. Yeah. Sam?
I'm just wondering, does the maturity of the team influence often how much of a hand you're going to...
So the question is, does the maturity of the team have a hand in me deciding how I'm going to stand? I'm not going to answer that yet. After this next exercise, then we're going to come to that. Nice segue. So let's go to the exercise here. So 2 minutes again. We're going to turn the table. What are the tools that a coach uses? Anybody know? What does a coach use? Pure coaching. What does a coach use? Questions. What kind of questions? Powerful questions. How do we know they're powerful? They're not yes or no, right? They're not a binary question. They're more open, right? So what would it mean to you to be able to drink more whiskey without having a hangover? Well, that's not a great example, right? But that, what would it mean to you? What would be possible? You notice the word what shows up, right? What is a really good way to start with the powerful questions?
Also, I find the questions have a way of helping someone focus.
Yeah, the questions have a way to help someone focus. Not just, you got to be careful when we're talking about peer coaching, because causing them to focus can be leading them. Now you're into mentoring, right? I'm going to tie all these things together after this exercise, right? But you have to be careful about if you're leading the person. So open questions, they have the answers. More importantly, what you're doing is you're helping them see what they can't, right? What are the things standing in the way? Are they seeing it? Here's something to try as you're doing this. Trust your intuition, right? If you're hearing this person talk about a challenge, trust your intuition, right? And put it along with the question, right? So it might be, I'm kind of sensing you're not happy about that situation. What is it what is it about the situation, right? But don't get married to it. Give it a try. 2 minutes, turn the tables. How do you be better at whatever this skill is? The cool part, coach, you don't need to know anything about the topic. Of course, you're all experts because you've been mentored. So go, 2 minutes. So over the Christmas holidays, I went to Long and McQuaid in Waterloo, and I got one of those Zen bells, so I wouldn't have to be up here going, okay. It's sitting on my desk at home. It was like, oh. Anyway, so let's go to the coachees first. Thank you. Coachees first. What was that like for you? Coachees. Who's a coachee? Coachee. One right here.
Yeah, I kept on learning.
You kept on learning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool.
I told you that, like, whatever I taught him, like, he knows something on the verge of this topic, so he has a lot to share. And to begin with, he helped me clarify, like, what is it that I want to know better or be better at. So
nice. Okay, cool. Who else has the thought? Coachees. Coachees. Okay. Oh, back here, Solomon.
So I like the topic where you're talking about yourself. What are your likes and dislikes? You don't get to talk about yourself much, and someone is genuinely interested, asking about why you didn't do it or what would make you do that. That feels good.
Cool. Helps you explore it and go deeper. Yeah, nice. Aaron?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It started with one topic and really turned into something very different by the time that we were done with it, and that was just kind of the road that I was led down.
Nice.
So it was interesting.
Nice. So a word about that, though. So I do a lot of coaching of individuals, so life coaching or executive coaching. Sometimes when they change a topic, right, so we get clear on what are we talking about, and then we start exploring it. And sometimes partway through the discussion, they hang a right turn. And what I do is I stop them and make sure that right turn was the right way to go. Because sometimes what they're doing is trying to avoid something, right? So just something to think about.
Can you give an example of what that
Oh, sure. Make me come up with an example here. I'll give an example for me, because then I'm not breaking any kind of confidentiality thing. I was doing a lot of travel last year, and at the same time, I was being coached, so I had a coach. And I was wrestling with the amount of time away from home and the impact that was having, right, for me. Nobody at home was complaining. It was me that was complaining. And as we're diving into this and drilling down into it and figuring out what's underneath that, all of a sudden I started talking about wanting to exercise more, right? Somehow I turned it. I don't remember how. And my coach stopped me and said, well, wait a second. A minute ago we were talking about, now we're talking about, is this really the important thing, right? And she called me out in it. And it was like, no. And so we went back, right? So that kind of thing can happen, something to watch for. And exercise might have been what was really underlying, you know, all the travel. Maybe I wasn't exercising as much. Actually, I was doing more, so. Yeah, does that help? Yeah, cool. So coaches, let's go to coaches. What was the experience like? David, up here?
Oh, it was easy. I didn't have to know anything, I just asked questions.
Yeah. So if you didn't hear that, he said it was easy. I didn't have to know anything. Just had to ask questions. It's actually why I love being a coach. So there is something to having some subject matter expertise, but that's more in the mentoring stance, right? Because David, when you look at coaching and what coaching is in its purest form, is absolutely correct, right? You don't need to know the topic. You have to be able to work with the person, but you don't need to know the topic. That's mentoring. Cool. One more observation. John. Oh, good. Whiskey. Here we go.
It was actually interesting, sort of, you know, helping somebody come to a bit of a realization about something that they were an expert in or interested in that they'd not really thought about doing before. So that was kind of satisfying, and it was sort of like, hey, yeah, this is cool. So.
Yeah. John's absolutely right. Even the experts in the world can always grow further, can do something to realize something further. And that's where coaching can help. So I'm just looking at the clock here. So Tom, you can sit and relax. Won't be going to them. Okay. So on this sheet here, I wanted to give you something to walk away with. So first of all, I want you to know my opinion about handouts like this and models like that. All models are wrong. Some might be helpful. Okay? So please, please, please do not take it back and say, Mike said to do it exactly like this, because I'll deny it. Okay? So on the front here, I got a little bit about why is this important. I talked about that. By the way, the thing that really sparked my thinking was those, right there in the first sentence. Go to the internet and search for Scrum in easy steps. 10 easy steps, 5 easy steps, right? Ken Schwaber, one of the guys who created Scrum, will tell you Scrum is incredibly simple to learn, incredibly difficult to do well, right? And yet, there's almost 500,000 pages that talk about how to do Scrum easily, right? Now, I only looked at a few of them. Some of them might really be realistic about it. Kanban, exactly the same thing. So I'm not picking on Scrum, right? It's these knowledge bits. Looking down the table at the bottom here, so teaching's about sharing knowledge, right? So we had that sharing of knowledge going on at the beginning. Mentoring is introducing our wisdom-based advice and guidance and teaching. So teaching still exists, but it typically comes from wisdom more in this case. Coaching, it's creating within the other person, creating something bigger, creating something better. And facilitating is the one we haven't covered here. There's been a lot of facilitating going on tonight. Give me an example of facilitating that's been happening here. Yeah, Tom running around with the microphone, facilitating for me. What else? Yep, me being up here facilitating. There was also the people who were running the retrospectives, right? A facilitator in its purest form sticks to the process. They're concerned about the process of a retrospective being executed. to allow the people who are participating to focus on content and not worry about process. So the steps of a retrospective, for example. So flip the page over here. Now here's where I really want to push that this is a model and all models are wrong. Some might be helpful, okay? So what this is showing here is up and down the left side of this quadrant here. Do you like how I brought a quadrant in? All good consultants do that, right? Down the left side is knowledge, right? So think back to John's knowledge of whiskey at the beginning of the night. Or, what's your name? Schumann, thank you. Sorry, it's the eyes, right? Schumann's knowledge of cricket at the beginning of the night would have been very low. If somebody's knowledge is low, can you coach them in that topic? If they don't have knowledge, can you coach them? No. They need knowledge as the basis, right? It might be something small. It might be might be TDD. It might be Scrum. It might be whatever, right? It might be some small coding practice. Whatever it is, they need that piece of knowledge first, right? So that's starting in the bottom left side here. They have low knowledge and low wisdom. So they need knowledge. Who's aware of the Shuha-Ri construct? So essentially, who's seen Karate Kid, the movie? Right? In the beginning of the movie, what's he doing? He's building muscle memory. Wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. Right? And then at some point he gets sloppy and he starts going the other way, and Mr. Miyagi, I think it is, comes along and says, no, wax on, wax off. He's building that muscle memory, right? That's Shu. It's building a muscle memory. It's learning how to do the Scrum ceremonies and artifacts and so on, textbook-like, right? That's Shu. It's getting the knowledge down. The stance we might take with that is teaching, of course. As knowledge increases, now you can start shifting your stance. In a construct for consideration, not a rule, right? We have low wisdom on the left, high wisdom on the right. So if I'm teaching Solomon something, he now has knowledge, but he doesn't have wisdom. He doesn't have the experience of using that knowledge. Right? And this is where teams need support when they come back from that Scrum class. They need support on how do I take this knowledge and now apply it, because they're going to run into problems as soon as they do. So what starts happening here in the Shu and the Ha and the Ri is some of the Ha starts happening. Right? Through the mentoring, now they start to integrate more and more things into it. Right? They start to create things. So our stance here is mentoring. And then finally, they're going to get to this top right spot, right? And teams who have been doing Scrum or Kanban for quite a while start getting into this category of high performing. And quite honestly, I've only seen one team I'd put into the category, just my experience. And that team, it was actually hard to know, were they doing Scrum or were they doing Kanban? Because it didn't actually matter at that point. They were evolving it. And this is a place they no longer need as much knowledge in that topic or mentoring, because they're actually transcending. They're going beyond at this point. So this is the place I would take a coaching stance. There was a comment back here about it was interesting to see how we could, or I think it was over here, unlock more when I already thought I knew a lot about it. Questions? Oh, by the way, in this, which one of these stances is better than another? None of them. How often should you move between them? Yeah, right. John back there is going whenever you have to, right? Don't view this as a linear path. Don't view this as a journey kind of thing. It's to give some structure to the thinking and understanding. And I could spend like a day talking about each one of these, right? Which we don't have here, unfortunately. So I hope you explore them more. Questions? David?
You talked about when you start coaching a team, you ask them whether you should stand between them and the cliff.
Yes.
When you're standing between them and the cliff, are you stepping back from coaching into mentoring?
Yes. Yes. So I believe one of the, how would I put it, fallacies of this label I carry called an Agile coach is that I actually don't do a whole lot of coaching. I do more mentoring than coaching. Often I'm no longer with the team by the time that coaching would really blossom and take off into something bigger. It's not to say I don't coach, right? So Agile coaches, I think a better label would be Agile mentoring. Cool, good question. Other questions?
Desire is to always move towards coaching, right? Like that's where you want to be in the end, is it not?
Yeah. So there's no prescription here.
You go back and forth, but
yes.
with always the intent to move towards coaching is the way I'm kind of interpreting.
For me personally, yes, I want to always be moving towards coaching because what it means is, as a coach, I'm actually working my way out of a job, which to me is a sign of success because the team has grasped it, the team is becoming independent, and the team no longer needs me, right? It becomes that transcending kind of thing. It's a sign that it's going on. Coaching comes, so as much as I say I don't do as much coaching as I do mentoring, coaching actually comes in a lot early on when people are so-called resisting or they're not liking what's going on or they don't get it and they're getting frustrated. So then I'll go into a coaching stance often with an individual to find out, to help them work through what's going on for them. But your general observation, if you're doing coaching and they're highly productive and high performing and so on, you're probably in the right place. But don't view it as a prescription.
So it seems to me there's some quite different skills to do each one of these things. And, is it okay to be better at one side and stick to it? Do you think?
Yeah.
There's value in that?
Yeah, I think that's a good observation. So in learning to be a coactive coach, one of the things that a book called Prosperous Coach, I got this from. So I'm coaching individuals, right? And one of the fears most students have early on, oh my God, what if I screw them up, right? And so I read this book called Prosperous Coach, and I love how he described it. You can be a really terrible coach, but here's the thing. The person could come out of work and go find the nearest lamppost and stand there talking to the lamppost. And the simple act of talking through it will give that person value, right? So you can be a haphazard, terrible coach, right? And you're still going to provide them value because a lot of times what people do in talking through it is they figure it out for themselves. Yeah, so the question is, there's probably more people skills on the coaching than there is on teaching, for example. Yeah, the teachers who get up and say, okay, so here's what you need to know.
Those aren't good teachers.
No, they're not good teachers, right? Because they probably lack a lot of the people skills. Quite honestly, when I'm teaching, I'm in all three. Cool. All right, I think we are out of time. I am here till about 10 after. So my limo picks me up. My friend Dave there, he's the best. He arranged a ride door to door for me. It's great. Okay, so thank you very much. I hope this helps you as you go forward. And remember, every single person in this room is a leader. Thank you.